We are starting a little bit later in the day. We just had a lot of stuff going on today, especially after Steve being home for a couple of days. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing, and the boys are tired. Hunter's curled up. Linus is passed out in the blanket. Really nice to see him enjoying the blankets again and giving the pillows a little bit of a break. And I'm going to have my little afternoon pick me up. I'm really enjoying the new coffee maker. So what I'm doing right now is I'm heating up my cup just using the hot water. And that was one of the things I found with the Keurig was that my coffee was never hot enough. And this just really helps. It's really simple. It's really easy. The only thing is I'm always like having to fill up the water container, but really enjoying it. We're big coffee drinkers. And I know the prices of everything is going up. And we really like a single serve coffee maker, but we didn't want to get into those espresso machines where we have to do all the work and everything. Like this is a really good balance and I'm liking it. It's really easy cleanup. We're really enjoying the Thanksgiving blend too, and it makes a really nice cup of coffee. And the Blue Jays are playing. They're playing the Yankees. I know the series is already over and everything by the time you watch this, but we're really excited. In Canada, we only have one Major League Baseball team, and we've really watched a lot of the games this year. Like even my husband is following along, and it's really nice that everybody is contributing, that it's just not a one-man show. And I made the decision to make patty melts and air fryer sweet potatoes tonight. It was like the worst idea because the game as a Blue Jays fan was pretty amazing. So I was kind of like paying attention and everything, but these are Pioneer Woman recipes. I will link them down below, and I did everything exactly for the patty melt. I had planned on making like cheeseburger sliders, but they didn't have the slider buns at Food Basics that I wanted. So when I had the fresh bread, I'm like, I know Pioneer Woman has a patty melt recipe and I think it will be perfect. So I'm just doing a little bit of caramelized onions. It was in the recipe, and caramelized onions adds so much flavor. And it's almost something I should do in a food prep and have them in the fridge and then just pull them out and kind of reheat them, because they do take a little bit of time and you need to do them low and slow to get them nice and caramelized and get the sweetness out and get that nice color. So I'm going to be checking on the onions and checking on the baseball game and just following along and doing my best to get dinner on the table for everybody tonight. We're going to talk sweet potato fries because I get asked a lot if they are crunchy. And I've never been able to make crunchy sweet potato fries. Even when I buy the frozen ones, they just don't have that crispness like a potato French fry does, like a regular potato. And I do find I've tried a couple of different techniques over the years, and I really felt like this Pioneer Woman recipe put it all together, and I think these were some of the best sweet potato fries I've made. They are the air fryer recipe, but you can kind of do the same thing in the oven, and it's doing a slower temperature, so I'll explain it more as we get into it. But I have tried doing it with the cornstarch because I know a lot of people have said they do that to crisp them up. I tried it and I could not stand them because all you could taste was the cornstarch on the sweet potatoes. So I just have everything cut up, and then my assistant is coming in. Steve is making the patties. He has more of the patience and everything for this, and this is one of the things I like now too with our new normal way of life and everything. Like, it's a team effort. So he just gets his gloves on, he gets the scale out, he's trying to get everything the right temperature, and I only have salt, pepper, garlic powder, and some Worcestershire sauce in with the patty melts, and then the onions. It's just slow and steady. So I'm putting 2 teaspoons of olive oil, maybe a little bit more, and I'm just using salt, pepper, and a little bit of garlic powder for my seasoning. Now, you do want to have a little bit of oil on your sweet potatoes because they do need that oil to help cook, and I find if you don't put enough oil, they can turn black if you don't have oil and you do them at a higher temperature. So this is going to be 360 degrees, I think. And the other thing that you can use for sweet potato fries that's a really nice seasoning is Montreal steak spice. I really love seasoning blends because I find you get a different flavor than adding in a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So I'm just going over the recipe. Like I said, I will link it down below. I'm pretty much following it exactly. I think the biggest thing is having them in a single layer so that way they air fry more consistently, and then you cook them and then halfway through you kind of flip them over a little bit. But it's really about having them spread out as best you could. Like this is only 2 sweet potatoes. So into the air fryer they go. The onions are good, and now I'm doing the patty, like the hamburger patties. I'm using a lot of butter in this recipe. I don't normally do all of this, but this is like a restaurant meal at home, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm just going to cook the burgers, and then there's the sweet potatoes halfway through. So I'm just shaking them up, going to kind of try and get them all laid out again so they're not laying on top of each other. And then I did it for the full time the recipe said, and then what I do at the end is I'll do them for 5 minutes at the 400 just to kind of give them that little bit of seal, and that's all that I do. So I'm just setting the timer, and I've always had a problem keeping my burgers like nice and flat. My mom would do that too. I remember she would make homemade hamburgers and they'd almost end up like a meatball. So these ones aren't too bad. I'm happy with them, and I love this little spatula. It's from the Pampered Chef, and I like to use the processed cheese slices. I just find they melt a lot better. So I have my griddle out, and I'm just going to start assembling everything. So you put the cheese slice, then the onions, then the patty, and then cheese again. It's all in the recipe. And then I'm using that fresh bread that I got. And it's not too thick. And with the cheese and then the onions and everything, like I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be really good. So what I did was I took my other pan and put it on top of the burgers. Like this would be really good to do on the Blackstone and have one of those like paddles and everything. But this was messy. The grease was flying everywhere, but I did the best I could. I'm very happy with them. And then I'm putting more butter on the griddle, and it's going to be easier than buttering the bread. It just, I don't know. It's something I don't normally do. And I really wanted to have a nice meal. You know, hubby was away for a couple of days. We're all going to sit down and eat together. And then it's just really about the assembly. So there's the burger patties on top. I'm only doing 3. We'll have 1 for leftovers. Then you just put the cheese again, then you do the bread, and then you cook them on one side, take them off, put a little bit more butter, and then do the other side. Obviously, you can skip it. It was pretty indulgent, pretty rich and everything, but I don't do this very often. And I know we went out one time for lunch at Kelsey's, and they had patty melts, and they were so good. And I can make them at home. I just have to be in the mood to cook. And I was in the mood to cook tonight. Like I really like to make something that we all sit down and eat together. I find that's the best. So I always try and do something on the weekends that Andrew will eat it with us. It's just a much more enjoyable meal when we all sit down and eat the same thing. So I'm gonna flip the patty melts over, and you can see how nice and brown and crispy they are. Here is the finished product. They're not crispy, but you can pick them up and eat them, dip them in ketchup. That's always my goal because that's how Andrew likes to eat them. I don't want them falling apart, and these were perfect. The patty melt was delicious, and this is something I would not make regularly. Like it was very indulgent with all of the butter and the fresh bread and everything. Like it was just a really nice meal. We all enjoyed it, and I served it on my Pioneer Woman plates. Now I really don't want to do this because the ball game's still going on. It was really, really warm all day, so we want to go out and enjoy a little bit of the autumnness of this year. Is that even a word? But I know my future self will thank me, and I'm just trying to get everything loaded up in the dishwasher and get it running, and then I'll do the kitchen cleanup later. But this makes such a big difference, just getting everything in there, getting the dishwasher run, and then dealing with everything later when things have calmed down, when everybody's kind of doing their own little thing again. And I'm just trying to find the balance in life and kind of multitask. But believe me, there is other things I'd rather be doing. And, you know, the dishes need to be done, the kitchen needs to be cleaned up, and that's just the mundaneness of everyday life that you got to do it, because if you don't, you'll regret it. Now it's time for a little autumn. It was a pretty warm day, but the sun is setting. It's cooled down. It's really nice. So out for a walk, stopping at a park, and just looking at this tree. There's green yellow, orange, a little bit of red, and it's really nice when we're all together. I take Linus because he's faster. Steve stays back with Hunter. Andrew's already on the swings, and just enjoying our beautiful evening. And every time I see a red tree, I just think it is so beautiful. It's always my favorite when I see that bright red because you don't see them as much as you see like the yellow. And I just thought it was absolutely beautiful. And whenever we go somewhere where there's multiple swings, Andrew has to test them all out. And then the last one, that's when he goes for his longer swing. He was so happy. He was so relaxed tonight. It was really enjoyable. And we're just stopping to enjoy all of the beautiful fall displays. So there was a big chair here. So Andrew climbed up, took some pictures, and it's always nice to see the creativity. And then whenever we can, we let Andrew walk Linus because they kind of walk at the same pace whenever there's not a lot of people around and it's safe. So it was really nice to end our walk, do all the other things we needed to do when we got home, and then it was time to work on the puzzle. And this is a puzzle that I thrifted many years ago, and I've done it every autumn since. I love it. I love the picture of it, the different colors. I love the amount of pieces, the Cobble Hill puzzle, and I think this is the first puzzle that really made me think of having different themed ones to do from year to year. And I always enjoy this one, and there's some that I only want to do once and I'll get rid of them, but there is a couple that I like to do every year. And we're going to end the night with a little bit of Canada Dry cranberry ginger ale, 0 sugar, and Steve and I started watching that murder mystery movie, the one with Adam Sandler. The first one, we watched about half of it. We were enjoying it, and hopefully we'll be able to finish the second part sooner rather than later.